My wife told me I can't stop my urges and push for an open marriage while I was deployed, so I cut off her $120,000 lifestyle and filed for divorce. My world shattered with 6 words: I want to open our marriage. I was half a world away, serving my country, when my wife casually dropped that bomb, and it wasn't just what she said that killed me, but how she said it, like asking me to grab milk on the way home. The stale air of my tiny office on base, the lukewarm coffee in my hand, none of it prepared me for the chill that went straight through me. I sat there, thousands of miles from home, staring at her face on the screen, feeling my foundation crumble. I'm Ethan, 37, a logistics officer with the Marines. For 10 years, I poured everything into what I believed was a rock-solid marriage with Olivia, my wife of 6. We met at a backyard barbecue when I was a junior officer. She was 29, a third-grade teacher in North Carolina. I genuinely thought she was everything I'd ever wanted: smart, ambitious, totally put together. Her lesson plans were color-coded, her grocery lists meticulously organized. We dated 4 years before I proposed. Those early years felt perfect, the kind of connection where you just get each other, finishing sentences, sharing comfortable silences on long drives. She knew what she signed up for: yearly deployments, 6 or 7 months at a time, missed holidays, video calls at weird hours. Yet, she always said she was proud of me, proud of what I did, proud of the stability. My $120,000 a year salary as a logistics officer, plus benefits, housing, healthcare, it was solid. We bought a nice 3-bedroom house in a good neighborhood. Olivia drove a new SUV. We took vacations twice a year. She had her yoga, her book club. From the outside, we looked like the poster couple for a successful military marriage. But around year 4, things shifted. I didn't catch it right away, I was gone so much. Olivia got really into fitness. Fine, everyone needs hobbies. But it escalated: a personal trainer, a fancy CrossFit gym, wardrobe changing from Target to Lululemon. Her new yoga studio cost more than our cable bill. Then came this new group of women, posting inspirational quotes, eating $15 avocado toast. Her appearance changed too, not bad, just expensive. Fresh highlights, perfect nails, makeup for the grocery store. When I video called from overseas, there was this glow-up vibe, almost performative. I remember my buddy Daniel, another officer, pulling me aside. His ex-wife did the same thing before asking for separation: sudden obsession with appearance, new social circle, a gym routine that took hours. I brushed it off. Olivia and I were solid. We talked daily, she sent care packages, never complained. I thought she was just taking better care of herself, which I honestly encouraged. Then came that video call. 3 months into a deployment, terrible coffee in hand, ready for our usual check-in. She looked different. Her hair effortlessly down, a low-cut top I'd never seen, and her expression, I couldn't read it. Nervous, but trying to play it cool. Small talk lasted 5 minutes, her students, my logistics nightmare. Then she said she had something important to discuss. My stomach dropped. In a military marriage, we need to talk usually means someone's hurt, someone's cheating, or someone's leaving. She took a deep breath, looked straight into the camera. I've been thinking a lot about us, and I want to open our marriage. I didn't process it. Misheard, I thought. Connection must be bad. I asked her to repeat it. She did, slower, like explaining to a 3rd grader, an open marriage. Freedom to see other people while I was deployed. Before I could respond, she hit me with the line burned into my brain: I can't control my urges while you're gone. It's not fair to expect me to wait around for months when I have needs. She wasn't asking permission. She was informing me, like a schedule change. I sat there, staring, trying to keep my face neutral. My training kicks in. But inside, every stage of grief hit me. I asked if she'd already been with someone else. She got defensive, said it wasn't about that, just honesty, not living a lie. But she never actually said no. She talked about military spouses' sacrifices, how 6 years of faithfulness was taking a toll on her mental health, how ethical non-monogamy would strengthen our relationship. I let her talk, and the more she explained, the clearer it became. This wasn't about loneliness or emotional crisis. This was about wanting her cake and eating it too. She wanted the financial security, the officer's wife status, the house, the SUV, the healthcare, all of it. But she also wanted the freedom to do whatever, with whoever, while I was overseas risking my life. I asked her point blank if she understood what she was asking. Her response? "I'm not asking, Ethan. I'm telling you this is what I need. And I hope you can be mature enough to accept it." Mature. Like I was unreasonable for not wanting my wife to sleep around. A cold clarity washed over me then, like in combat, when everything slows and you see exactly what needs to happen. I told her I needed time to think. She smiled. Smiled. Like she'd won, like I'd come around. She said we'd talk tomorrow, blew me a kiss, and logged off. I sat there for an hour, just staring at the wall. Then I called my brother, told him everything. He said the words I already knew: she's either already cheating or she's got someone lined up. No one asks for an open marriage out of nowhere unless they've already got a plan. The next few days, I went silent. No calls, no texts to Olivia. She clearly didn't like that. Messages flooded in: "Are you okay? We should talk." Acting like nothing had happened. I used that time to plan. To reach out to a lawyer back home through secure channels. To make a decision that would blow up my marriage, but save my dignity. When I finally called her back 4 days later, she was all smiles, ready to set boundaries and rules for our open arrangement. I let her talk for 5 minutes about trust and communication, about how I could have freedom too. Then, I stopped her mid-sentence. "Here's how this is going to work," I said. "I'm cutting off your access to my accounts. I'm moving my direct deposit. And I'm filing for divorce the day I get back stateside." The look on her face, like I'd slapped her. Her mouth fell open. She started backpedaling, saying I was overreacting, controlling, that she just wanted honesty. I told her she'd get her freedom, just not my paycheck with it. I ended the call. She tried calling 6 times that night. I didn't answer. The next morning, her messages ranged from angry to desperate to manipulative. But not once did she say she'd made a mistake. She thought I'd bend. Thought I'd come crawling back. Thought the threat of losing me would be less scary than losing her lifestyle. She was wrong. And that was just the beginning. The first thing I did back stateside 2 months later was rent an apartment across town. 1 bedroom, basic furniture, far enough from our house. I didn't tell her I was back for 3 days. I needed to set things up, meet my lawyer, Michael, lock down my finances, mentally brace for the explosion. Michael, a former JAG officer, had seen 1,000 military divorces. He just nodded when I laid it out. "Solid case for abandonment of marital responsibilities," he said. "North Carolina laws will work in your favor since she essentially admitted to wanting extramarital relationships." We filed that week. Michael arranged for a process server to deliver the papers to Olivia at her elementary school on a Friday afternoon. Cold, I know. But she valued her image. Getting served in front of colleagues would ignite action. That weekend, I set up automatic mortgage payments, transferred my direct deposit to a new bank she couldn't touch, and changed every password. The calls started Sunday, 7 p.m. 14 missed calls in 3 hours. When I answered the 15th, she was sobbing. Something about me ruining her life, everyone at school talking, me being cruel and vindictive over one conversation. I let her finish. Then I asked a simple question: had she actually gone through with sleeping with anyone during those last 2 months of my deployment? The silence told me everything. She hadn't explicitly done it, but close enough to feel guilty. She tried to flip it, asking if I'd been with anyone. I told her the truth, no. Because I'd been too busy doing my job. And apparently, being the only faithful person in our marriage. She started begging, counseling, she'd made a mistake, never went through with anything. But I'd already decided. Nothing she said would change it. The next few weeks felt like watching a slow-motion car crash, with Olivia both the driver and the wreck. She posted constantly on social media, expensive restaurants with living her best life captions, cropped hotel photos, gym selfies with her trainer. She was trying to make me jealous. But all she was doing was broadcasting exactly why I'd left. The military spouse community is tight-knit. Word travels fast, especially when an officer's wife acts single while her husband's name is still on paperwork and she's in base housing. I didn't have to say a word. People figured it out. Invitations to couples events dried up for her. Other wives stopped including her. The few times she showed up, people were polite but distant, the kind of distance you keep from someone untrustworthy. Meanwhile, I started showing up to official military events solo, looking put together, unbothered. I made sure to be seen talking to successful, attractive women, professional networking, friendly chats. The optics were clear, I was moving on, and doing just fine. I posted a couple photos from a work conference, sitting next to a fellow logistics officer who was smart, accomplished, and looked great in her dress uniform. No dramatic caption, just tagged the event. But I knew Olivia would see it. My social media was public, and I knew it would eat at her. About 6 weeks after the papers were served, Olivia started texting me at odd hours, usually after 10 p.m. Her messages, a wild mix of anger and desperation. One night, I was a coward. The next, paragraphs about missing me, how we could make this work if I just gave her another chance. She started asking about the woman from the conference photo. That's when I realized she'd built this fantasy where I'd wait while she explored her options. Now that I wasn't playing that role, she didn't know how to handle it. The irony was almost funny. She wanted an open marriage for freedom and security. Instead, she'd opened the door for me to walk out completely. Now she was the one feeling abandoned. I didn't engage with most messages, only logistical stuff. Ignoring the emotional manipulation made her more frantic. She started calling my parents, my brother, even my friends, trying to get someone to talk sense into me, to convince me I was throwing away a good marriage over a misunderstanding. My family shut that down. My mom told her point blank that asking your deployed husband for permission to betray him wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a betrayal. My brother said she should be grateful I was handling this through lawyers instead of making it uglier. Then came the night she showed up at my apartment unannounced. Knock around 8 p.m. Through the peephole, Olivia. Jeans, oversized sweater, no makeup, messy bun. More like the woman I'd married than the Instagram version. I opened the door, stood in the doorway. Didn't invite her in. Just waited. She started crying immediately. Said she'd made a terrible mistake, been selfish and stupid. The open marriage thing was because she felt neglected, wanted attention, not other people. Her friends had all turned on her, people at school treated her differently, she felt completely alone. She needed me to understand she never meant to hurt me. I stood there listening. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just this hollow certainty, we were done. I told her she'd made her choice when her urges became more important than our vows. I wasn't interested in being her safety net now that her fantasy hadn't worked out. She grabbed my arm, asked what she was supposed to do, how to move forward. I pulled away. Figure it out, I said, the same way you were planning to figure out your open marriage without me. She stared, disbelieving. Then asked if there was someone else, if that's why I was being so cold. I told her the truth, no one else. Just self-respect, and a refusal to be treated like a bank account with benefits. That seemed to break something. She started yelling, calling me controlling and heartless, saying I'd led her on. I let her finish. Stepped back inside, closed the door. I heard her crying in the hallway for 5 minutes before she left. Divorce papers filed, court date set. Olivia's lawyer tried to negotiate spousal support, half the house, shared assets. My lawyer, Michael, countered with evidence of her abandonment, social media screenshots showing her dating during separation, a timeline proving she initiated the breakdown. Her lawyer backed off the spousal support quickly. We settled on a clean split, half the house value once it's sold, each keeping our own vehicles and personal property. No ongoing payments, no strings attached. I was fine. I didn't want her money. I didn't want to be tied to her. I just wanted out. The house went on the market 3 weeks later. Olivia temporarily moved in with a yoga friend. I only knew because my brother's wife saw her loading boxes. Surreal. 10 years reduced to signatures and furniture divided like a business. Olivia sent one final text the night before court. I hope you find someone who makes you happy because I clearly wasn't enough. I didn't respond. Nothing left to say. She'd been enough until she decided she needed more. That wasn't my problem anymore. The divorce was finalized on a cold February morning, about 5 months after I'd filed, fast for North Carolina, though by the end, Olivia wasn't contesting much. We stood in that courtroom. The judge went through questions. 20 minutes, it was over. 10 years dissolved in less time than a sitcom. Olivia looked smaller, plain black dress, no makeup, hair pulled back. When the judge declared us divorced, she didn't cry or make a scene. Just stared at the floor and nodded. I felt this weird relief mixed with something I couldn't name. Not sadness, more like closing a book I'd lost interest in. We walked out separately. She went left, I went right. Last time I saw her in person. The house sold 2 weeks later, slightly above asking. After the mortgage, we each got about $73,000. I put mine toward a down payment on a small townhouse closer to base. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. Nothing fancy, but it was mine, and mine alone. No shared history, no arguments, just clean slate energy. I heard Olivia moved from her yoga friend's guest room into a cheaper apartment on the east side, the kind of place with tow-away signs every 10 feet, walls so thin you hear your neighbors. The lifestyle she'd built, expensive gym, yoga, brunches, spa days, all evaporated quickly. $73,000 doesn't last long on a teacher's $50,000 salary. Her social media went quiet for a month. When she posted again, it was inspirational quotes about growth and healing. The kind of content people post to convince themselves. What I didn't expect was the digital obsession. Weeks later, she created what I'm sure was a fake Instagram account, 0 posts, but following me, viewing public stories within minutes. Generic username, but the timing was too consistent. Then my brother said she'd sent him a Facebook friend request from a different name, a random profile picture, clearly trying to keep tabs on my family. I blocked every suspicious account, set my profiles to private, stopped posting anything personal. But it bothered me that she couldn't just let it go. Even after everything, she was still monitoring my life like she had some right to know. My brother's wife saw her at Target. Said Olivia looked rough, sweatpants, old hoodie, generic groceries instead of organic. She tried small talk, but my sister-in-law kept it polite and brief. Messages started coming from unknown numbers 3 months post-divorce, thinking about our anniversary, remember that beach in Florida? Clearly trying to trigger nostalgia. She used apps to hide caller ID. I never responded, just screenshotted them, forwarded to Michael in case I needed a restraining order. It never escalated that far. The texts eventually shifted to regret. Long paragraphs about how she'd destroyed the best thing, influenced by divorced and bitter friends, wishing she could undo everything. One message stood out, men she'd thought would be interested only wanted casual hookups, and she felt used and disposable. Deeply ironic. She wanted to use me as financial security while she explored those exact casual situations. I didn't respond to that one either, but I did think about how she'd gambled everything on a fantasy, and reality had hit her hard. I ran into one of her yoga friends at a coffee shop 6 months later. She approached cautiously. Said Olivia had been asking about me constantly, if I was seeing anyone, if I seemed happy, if I ever mentioned her. The friend seemed uncomfortable delivering Olivia's message. I kept it brief. I'd moved on completely and would appreciate it if Olivia did the same. The friend nodded, said she'd tried telling Olivia that, but Olivia was convinced we'd reconcile once I'd cooled off. Like this was just an extended argument, not a permanent ending. That confirmed it. Olivia never accepted I was gone. She'd been waiting for me to come back. Every month that passed was breaking her denial, bit by bit. My life got significantly better in ways I hadn't anticipated. Promoted to a senior logistics officer position 8 months after the divorce, better pay, more responsibility. I started hitting the gym, not to prove anything, but because I enjoyed it. Reconnected with hobbies, fishing, hiking, reading. I felt like I was rediscovering parts of myself buried under years of trying to make someone else happy. I went on a few dates, nothing serious. It felt good to have conversations where I wasn't walking on eggshells. One woman asked about my divorce. I gave her the short version. Ex-wife wanted an open marriage while I was deployed. I chose divorce. She looked at me with respect. Good for you for knowing your worth. That simple validation felt more genuine than anything Olivia had said in the last 2 years. The final piece of closure came almost a year after the divorce, an actual physical letter with Olivia's handwriting. I almost threw it away, but curiosity won. Inside, 3 pages of handwritten apology. Therapy, realizations about her behavior, acknowledging she'd treated me like a resource, not a partner. A request not for reconciliation, but for forgiveness, so she could move forward. I read it twice. Then put it in a drawer. I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, not even pity. Just nothing. And that's when I knew I was truly done. She wanted an open marriage, thinking she could have it all without consequence. Instead, she'd opened the door to a future where I wasn't part of her life at all. And that future, it turned out, was exactly what I needed. Looking back, what do you think was her biggest mistake?